Hello and welcome to another episode of Back Nine Report. Tonight we have our good friend Mike May with us. Mike, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing just Jim Dandy from here in sunny South Florida. It's March, it's spring break. Everyone should be here.
You're making me feel bad. I'm going to be down at Jekyll and Pinehurst here in a couple weeks, about 10 days. So I can't wait. I'm ready to go. Excuse me.
Those are great
Mike,
times and to Pinehurst. So I think the weather will shine brightly for you.
I'm ready. Hey, Mike, the big news in golf last weekend is that Scotty Scheffler won for the second time this season and the sixth time in those last 14 months. We got some really good storylines from the players. Mike, I don't know if you got to watch any of it. What is your takeaways? What are your thoughts on the players this weekend?
Well, I think overall the fans were out there in strong numbers. They just want to see good golf, and they're happy to see an underdog do well, and they love to see a favorite come through as Scheffler did. And again, it makes you think that you're almost confirmed that people like Dustin Johnson and Koepka are not missed, out of sight, out of mind. And PGA Tour came through with a great event, great field, great venue, great weather, great champion. It was a two thumbs up for the PGA Tour this weekend.
Nobody's saying, boy, this would have been so much better if Phil Mickelson or Dustin Johnson would have been here, or Sergio Gar. Nobody's saying that. You know, the last few weeks, and we talked about this last week a little bit. The last few weeks on PGA Tour have been very, very good. And we've got some good stuff coming up with the match play, and the Masters is right around the corner. So, these young guys, as we said earlier, when they get an opportunity now to step up, and fill in some of these old guys who are taking up space, it's exciting to watch them. Minwoo Lee, he was fun to watch this weekend. So it's good stuff. But Mike, and this was Scotty Scheffler's sixth win in the last 15 months. Plus, he's had 14 top tens in those like 27 events or something like that. He earned the largest first place check ever, 4.5 mil from the $25 million total prize. When's the last time you won 4.5 million for playing 4 rounds of golf?
Are we talking about real money or monopoly money?
It sounds like monopoly money, doesn't it? Scotty jumps back over Rahm to reclaim number one on the official world golf ranking. He held the 54-hole lead and expanded to 5 shots over Tyrrell Hatton, who had a really good day on Sunday. Scotty has just been unbelievably consistent over the last year. And along with the 6 wins, and he's just been playing phenomenal. So let me ask you this question. Is Scotty Scheffler now your favorite to defend the Masters green jacket?
Without a doubt. Of course, Jon Rahm had to withdraw, and you'll get to that shortly. But Scheffler's playing very well. He's got like tiger-like momentum, and his confidence is at a record high. And every time he wins, he almost seems to treat it like it's the first win ever. So he's not overconfident, and he knows it's every week he could maybe not win. But there's no one more confident in golf right now than Scotty Scheffler, and the timing is right.
So the other two guys, when we talk about Scotty Scheffler, the other two guys that kind of bounce around there for number one, Rory McIlroy, he missed the cut. He did not play very well. Jon Rahm had to withdraw with a stomach illness. So we didn't get to see them on the weekend. But does this diminish Rory at all for you because he missed the cut here?
I think it's just typical of Rory. Rory can be the very best. When he's on, there's no one better. But he lacks the consistency of Scheffler and Rahm. So it's anybody's guess when he's going to pop up and play well. I know he's yet to win Augusta. And the older he gets, I think the more pressure it may be on him because like he's thinking, I've got to do it this year. I've got to do it this year. Well, he's now in his 30s. And of course, he's still good. He can win anytime in the next 10, 15 years. But I think there's an element of doubt, and the level of confidence and depth for the other players is tremendous. I mean, there's Scheffler and Justin Thomas and Spieth, and of course, all the live guys will be there as well. They'll want to be motivated to do well. Johnson, Koepka, it's Garcia. It's the Masters may well be its most competitive, and of course, someone will be keeping score. Will the live guys do better or the PGA Tour guys? Pick your best 5 live, pick your best 5 PGA Tour. I'm sure Scheffler's just happy he's got one green jacket. He's playing with house money. He's got a level of confidence, and he'll be a tough player to beat. He's made for that course.
His short game is so fantastic. His touch around the greens, it's very simple. I don't know if you watched it, or I've watched his short game a lot when he has opportunities to chip. He is a master. I mean, he is really good. And so the greens at TPC Sawgrass are relatively small as far as greens go on the PGA Tour. And then they were really firm for 3 of the 4 days. And so the ball was bouncing all over the place. And so there was a lot of chipping opportunities. There was a lot of missed greens by everybody. And that's where Scheffler kind of pulled himself away. His short game just makes him better by a stroke or stroke and a half every day. So over 4 rounds, you're looking at a 4 to 6 shot margin right there because his short game is so good most weeks. And he was making putts. I mean, he really is playing well. Let's get away from Scotty a little bit. We talked about Rory. Rahm, I'm not losing any faith in Rahm. I don't know that I could pick Scheffler as the one favorite. But if you give me Rahm, Rory, and Scheffler against the field, I might have to take that because Rahm's been playing. I mean, he has 6 worldwide wins over the last year as well. He matches Scheffler in that regard, so he's been playing as well too. I want to talk just a minute about Tyrrell Hatton. Here's a guy that's always he's a solid player, but he's won in Europe, but not really done that well. He's won one time maybe in the United States. On Sunday, he got it going on the back 9, had a 29, had 7 birdies. I think he parred 10, he parred 12, and he birdied everything else. He had 5 birdies coming in. That was a phenomenal round. Ends up making 2.725 mil for runner-up. Not a bad week.
Tremendous. I did follow Hatton. Again, he's not exactly the name you expect to see week in and week out, but it just speaks to the depth of the PGA Tour that almost like in the NFL, where any team can win on any given Sunday, on the PGA Tour, anyone can win on any given tournament, just because with the Korn Ferry Tour, the players are trained with a college program behind that. When they get to the PGA Tour, they're ready to win. It's not a matter of I've got to wait a year or two. They're ready to win, and we've seen that in recent years with players like Matthew Wolff. So and Schauffele and Morikawa. These players are, when they get the card, they're ready to cash in on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Hatton didn't go to the LIV with his European buddies, because he's really tight with that group of guys that went over, and especially Poulter and Westwood and some of those guys. So I think Hatton sees that he can maybe play and have a legacy and have better competition and end up playing better himself playing on the PGA Tour. So that was really good stuff. Another guy that we like to watch, Victor Hovland, had another really good week. He ends up in 3rd place by himself. Tied. He tied for 3rd, but he still gets 1.475 million for 3rd. Victor Hovland, any thoughts on Victor?
Victor is someone I actually pay attention to on a fairly regular basis. He's of Norwegian extraction, and he always seems to be lurking in the background behind Morikawa and Schauffele. It's like Schauffele, Morikawa, and Hovland. And Hovland, I would not be surprised if he wins that green jacket in April. He's just got unleveled the confidence he has. He's got a great swing. He's built to win, and every time he does well, it's no surprise. In fact, I'm more surprised when he doesn't do well. He's that good.
Yeah, he's very consistent, and I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I don't think he's ready to win a major yet, because I think part of his problem is when he gets in contention, he gets a little bit ahead of himself. He gets too quick, and he doesn't calm down, and he doesn't take in the moment. We've seen that a lot over the years with a lot of young guys. It took them a while to learn how to slow down and play. And you'll notice when he gets really in contention in a big event, he starts missing irons or he starts, missing a chip shot here and there. And that's all just due to pressure, a little bit to nerves. So, yeah, I don't think he's ready to win a major just yet, but boy, he's got a lot of game for sure. Tom Hoge, go ahead. I'm sorry, you're going to say?
When we talked on the day after the Masters, we may have to you may have to eat some crow there if Hovland wins.
Yes.
Because I told you so back in March, right
Yes.
after the Players. But if you can win at the Players, I think you can win at the Augusta, and it's all confidence. He's got the game, and I'm sure he's well aware of when he's had some errant shots down the stretch. Again, hopefully he can learn, and we've had more unknown players win at Augusta than Hovland. We'll see if what pans out in 2023.
Tom Hoge was kind of an interesting story over the weekend. He just made the cut on the number Friday. Matter of fact, he was calling to get a flight out of town because he didn't think he was going to make the cut. He was ready to leave. But he did make the cut on the number. Then on Saturday, he went like crazy. I guess he figured, well, I got nothing to lose. I might as well just go ahead and play and relax and play. 10 under 62, new course record at TPC Sawgrass. He, just a phenomenal round of golf on Saturday. I got to watch most of his back nine, and it was just fairways, greens, putt, fairways, greens, putt. Let's move on.
I think that he and Hatton had amazing experiences that will stay with them for a while. And if they can play that well in a course that difficult, with a field, with a course so difficult, there's no reason they can't do well the rest of the year. It may not mean they're going to win a major, but they can definitely contend and get a number of top fives and maybe win a regular event, if not a major.
Jordan Spieth, T19, Justin Thomas, T60. They were really non-factors this week. Spieth is still just too inconsistent. He played really well on Saturday. He played really well. And then I think he went like a bogey, 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 or double bogey, bogey at the end or something like that. 16, 17, 18, and really knocked him back down the leaderboard, and he was done after that. But again, Spieth and Thomas, they got to be right up there in the list of the top favorites for the Masters as well, still coming up. Jason Day and Ricky Fowler, and I believe I said something about Ricky Fowler might have a good week, and he did have a good week. Jason, they've both been playing really good the last few weeks. Are you seeing anything from Jason Day and Ricky Fowler that surprises you?
Nothing surprising about Day. I think his big key is being healthy. If he's healthy, as he was when he won his PGA Championship a few years ago, he can play very well. He's had some success at Augusta. And again, the key is not having any physical ailments that impact his swing. He's talented, strong, long, great putter, and cool under pressure.
56-year-old winner of the Senior Players last year, Jerry Kelly made the cut at TPC and played on the weekend. Good for Jerry Kelly. All the Champions Tour boys, I'm sure, were rooting for Jerry over the weekend. Once again, we saw a mixed leaderboard at TPC Sawgrass. The course truly does not favor any one type of player. It demands accuracy and excellent iron play to be successful. There's just trouble lurking everywhere. There's a lot of water. There's a lot of humps and bumps. The ball gets to rolling when it's firm like it was the first couple of days. And I mean, it could run right off the fairway into the water, even if it was a halfway decent shot. So any thoughts on TPC Sawgrass that you saw?
Well, every year I think of 16, 17, 18, where water lurks. 16, risk reward. If you are rewarded, you get a good score. If you take a bad risk and have a bad swing, you're in the water. 17, water. 18, water. You don't have as much water at most courses as you do at TPC. So the penalness of, or the degree of difficulty is a little bit higher than most, or at least the impact of a bad decision is bigger than most. And where you wander off the fairway at, say, Augusta, and you just get in sort of the casual rough, at TPC, you're looking at a couple strokes penalty. So I think TPC does reward accuracy, and it's just that's why driver is taken out of so many players' hands at TPC. You don't need to hit the ball long, but you need to hit it straight.
So one last question before we close this up tonight. If I told you you could have either Rahm or you could have all three, Rahm, Scheffler, or Rory for the Masters, would you take one of them, or would you bet on someone from the field? You know, like maybe Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay, Will Zalatoris, Xander Schauffele, or maybe even Colin Morikawa. What do you think?
Well, I remember your comment earlier where you said Scheffler, Rahm, and McIlroy, and then you'd give the field to someone else. Um, I'd be willing to say Rahm and Scheffler, and I'll let McIlroy be part of the field. But I'll accept this wager. I'll give you McIlroy and Rahm and Scheffler, and I'll give you one more, and I'll take the field, and we'll see what happens at Augusta. Because I think the depth of Augusta is so strong, it's almost a 50-50 bet.
Yeah, and you can't tell, and the story, the old line that the tournament starts on the back nine on Sunday. That's very true at Augusta, with the winds and the pressure and those slick greens, for sure. But I will say this: I really believe that Rory, Rahm, and Scheffler will be there in the top 10 on the leaderboard come Sunday afternoon on the back nine. I really look for them to be there. And there's a couple other guys also, but those three guys are playing at a really high level, Mike.
I'll take Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, and Jordan Spieth, and give you Scheffler, Rahm, and McIlroy, and we'll see who has the best cumulative score related to par. The other question is, who do you think is the oldest player who will make the cut at Augusta?
Bernhard Langer.
That's a good bet. I'm going to say Mickelson. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I don't think he'll make a cut. I'd bet I would almost bet $1,000 on that. Phil Mickelson will not make the cut at Augusta.
But if there's anyone who's 50 plus whose game comes alive at Augusta, after all, he missed last year. I'm sure he's motivated to do well. He's probably out there in San Diego chipping and putting. But I didn't say win the tournament. I said just make the cut, and that's the easiest cut to make of all the majors.
It is. You're exactly right about that, because there's only about 20 or 25 guys that are going to be cut, and those are there's 4 or 5 amateurs in that group. So there's only about 15 or 20 guys that are going to miss the cut, because they just don't have that many guys in the field. I think 100's the most they've ever had, and they run out of daylight. They can't get too many because they don't have enough daylight to make it around. Matter of fact, they had that problem Friday night at TPC at the Players. They had to finish on Saturday morning because they just ran out of sunlight trying to get the guys around. So, Mike, that kind of wraps up the show for tonight. Anything else you want to add? Anything on your mind that you want to talk about real quick?
The LPGA is going to get going next weekend, or it's actually in about 10 days. They'll have their finishing round. It's a drive-on championship at out there at Gold Canyon, Arizona, and that's really going to start the 2023 season for the LPGA. I'll be out there, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the greatest swings in golf chase Mrs. Par.
Thanks again, Golfaholics, for watching Back Nine Report. We always enjoy talking about golf, and I hope you enjoy listening to us. Mike, thanks a lot for coming in tonight. Till next time, we'll see you.